And what it do, folks? It's your boy, Charles Yonga. And thank you for tuning in to Maryland Terrapins Live here on the Voice of College Football. Go to www.vocfb.com for the best college football coverage in the nation. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at Charles Yonga, that's CharlesNYonga, to reach out and discuss some college football with your boy. And unfortunately, he's not with us today, but Mark Gray is out there doing his thing. You can follow him at The Sports Groove. That is TheSportsGroove, The Sports Groove. Mark Gray, he is the OG Professor G. Mark with a K, Gray with an A. Follow him at The Sports Groove. That is TheSportsGroove. And today we got some big news. A lot to discuss today, and that is Mike Locksley is keeping his job as the head football coach at the University of Maryland. It is official, even after another humiliating loss to Illinois, only scoring two field goals. Two field goals, people. Remember that. Two field goals, losing 24-6 to Illinois. On Sunday night, athletic director James Smith gave Locksley his vote of confidence Sunday evening that he would keep his job as the head coach of Maryland. I'm going to read to you a little bit from a couple articles I did a little research on the AP. This is from the AP on November 18th. At times in 2025, it has felt like a college football collective decided to err on the side of firing. Amid all of that, Maryland chose patience with Mike Locksley. Athletic director Jim Smith announced his support for Locksley Sunday, ending speculation about the coach's job status and committing to providing the resources necessary for success. It was the biggest decision Smith had to make since taking over the department earlier this year, and Locksley addressed his future. Just addressed his future this past Tuesday as normal midweek conference. That is from the AP. From ESPN, Pete Thamel wrote, Mike Locksley will remain in place as Maryland's football coach in 2026. And the school plans to significantly increase financial support for the program, according to athletic director Jim Smith. Locksley in his 8th season with the Terps is 4-6, who has lost 6 consecutive games. Maryland went 4-8 last season after winning bowl games, and 3 consecutive seasons before that, which marked the longest streak in program history. Smith told ESPN that prioritizing retaining key players, including star-studded freshman class, is a big part of the strategy. Smith also said that Maryland needs to catch up financially to compete with top teams in the Big Ten. That's one thing I've been talking about all season is if the Terrapins did struggle, would they keep Mike Locksley? I did say last week it might be time to move on, but obviously I was proven wrong as the program has decided to stick with him. If you can see the fact that he did recruit Malik Washington, who can be a potential, elite quarterback, moving forward. He's only a true freshman. There is a phenomenal recruiting class coming in, including Zion Ellie, a 5-star recruit from St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, a 6'3 and a half, 220-pound edge rusher who was ranked 9th nationally, 3rd in position, and number 1 in the state, who committed to Maryland. So you don't want to what's where I say you don't want to rock this boat when you have some good recruits coming in to the state, to the school, who might be able to fix some of the holes that the team has, such as lack of depth on the defense. That's why the defense appears to have gets tired later in the game, some more beef up front in the offensive line, because the offensive line, one thing they do well is protect the quarterback, but they don't run the ball. To maybe some receivers, some depth, some weapons outside to help give some more weapons to toss to. Some more size, some more. There is a 3-star recruit, Jaden Kitchens, from the St. James out of Springfield, Virginia, a 6'5", 290-pound wide receiver who's a 3-star recruit. You have some big lineman, James Moody, coming in. They don't want to upset. One thing about college football is if a coach recruits you to a school and that coach is no longer there, that player might not want to stay, might not want to, may want to go somewhere else. And in the age of NIL and college free agency, basically, you want some kind of stability at the top in order to oops, wrong. In order to just build a consistent program. So what I'm going to do right here is play a little bit something from Mike Loxley about his thoughts here about staying here in Maryland.
Say this from the day that Diana and Jim got here, Jim and Diana got here, however you want to place it, both those guys have played a huge role in hip to hip with me. There was a time from December 1st up through the hire and the buzz, our basketball coach, that there weren't a lot of people that understood the landscape. And when they got here, I can remember the first meeting I had with them, we presented a plan. And for them to see the plan and understand, and then they've had a chance now to watch what we've done. Obviously, no one, including myself, is happy with where we are when you talk about the map and the terrain. But from the day they got here, they've supported every part of it, and they understand what winning looks like. I mean, Jim coming off of winning a baseball championship with the Braves, Diana and her time at Ohio State obviously understand what it takes, and winning has a cost. Very rarely do you see me stand up here in front of you guys and complain about whether the resources were enough or not enough, because I'm always going to make do with what I have, and that's what we've done. We've given it our best. But to have two people now that are going to stand with me, hip to hip, give me the resources I need to build this program, I've had a total commitment to this area for a long time. I was asked last week why. I spent 37 years in this business doing what I do, and AJ and Sean are a reflection of it. I spent 17 seasons on this campus. Not very many people know the ins and outs of this campus like I have. And to have two people now that share the same special vision that I have, while also seeing the foundation of what we have when we didn't have all the resources that we needed, I'm excited. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. So really glad about the support, opportunity to stay here, committed to an area that I believed in because I'm from here.
And join us right now, I will have the OG, Professor G, Mark Gray, coming to the stage. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm all right. I mean, trying to prepare myself for tomorrow, which looks to be as difficult a challenge as we've seen to this point all season. When you consider Michigan comes into College Park, and to me, the most dangerous thing about this is Michigan needs to not only win the game for the standings, they have to win in cosmetic fashion for the college football playoff committee, which is in disarray altogether. You can spend all kind of conversation time with them. And I bring that up, Chuck, because this game is as much for Michigan about style points as it is total points. And I say that, they're in a precarious place as far as getting into the playoffs, number one. They like to have a higher seed. That's the way you're playing to the committee. And we've seen Maryland, quite frankly, play pretty much bad against really good, high-profile, strong teams. USC was a massacre. Homecoming against Indiana was tragic. You know what I mean? So I look at Michigan coming in, licking their chops. I look at the Wolverines also needing to win some type of way. And given what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 weeks, it's hard to get pumped about this being a competitive game.
That's true, but I wanted to pick your mind quick. We were just listening to Coach Loxley's comments about the, uh, I guess you say the endorsement by James Smith and the staff there at Maryland about retaining him for next year. He's going to stay on as coach. He's going to stay on next year. They're investing more into the program. Obviously, they have a lot of recruits who signed up with Maryland thinking they're going to play under Coach Loxley, which I think is one of the reasons they decided to keep him to get this next recruiting class or two through to see how well they improve this roster overall. So, what are your thoughts about them sticking with Coach Loxley? Because I had several thoughts about last week. I said he might have to go, but obviously Sunday night they said nope, we're going to stick with him for one more year and see where it takes us.
If I'm not mistaken, next year's the last year of his contract, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, why buy somebody out when he does deserve a chance to see the foundation lay, at the very least. To Lox's point about coaching the kids from this area who want to bring a major college flavor to it, I get that. I think that sometimes there can be a rush to judgment and you move too fast. I believe that Jim Smith is being pragmatic about it. And one thing about it, when you're pragmatic, you don't want to pay for somebody who's not working, especially in these times of financial crisis throughout, America. And I don't think that, it's fashionable any longer to buy out coaches. I don't think you'll see a James Franklin or Brian Kelly type of buyout ever again. So I think that it just made good physical, sound business sense, A, to bring Loxley back, B, to try to keep your recruits and not start wholesale rebuilding all over again. So, it makes sense, but I do think that they should start getting a list together because with conference realignment, coaching changes, we saw how quick it was for fashionable candidates like James Franklin to find a job. I think you got to be mindful of that in Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just looked it up. His contract runs through 2027 with an option for 2028. Average annual salary of $5.5 million. So with a annual increase of $300K per year, and like I said, 1 year extension in 2028. So it's in the grand scheme of things, and when it comes to college coaches, it's not breaking Maryland's bank to keep him around because he's like I say, it's going to be making.
See, I think that's relative. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Maryland doesn't have Texas money. You feeling me? Maryland doesn't have Georgia money for their program. So when you have an enormous budget, you can afford to carry it a certain way. I'm not quite sure that Maryland can play with the big boys just yet. And they got to increase that NIL. So I'm glad to see they're going to more than likely probably let him finish out. I think you can put a realistic expectation of finishing strong, getting a W or two out of the next three so that you can get into a bowl game. They have not qualified for a bowl game yet. And you're going to be asking donors a whole lot if they don't even get a chance to go to a bowl game, be it in Charlotte and playing for mayonnaise, be it in, Florida at what was once the Citrus Bowl or whatever. You want money
from New York,
people.
that Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Humanitarian bowl. Hey,
there's nothing. Hey, look, there's nothing humanitarian about forcing young black kids from the city to go to Boise for a week. With all due respect to Boise, I'm glad they got rid of the Sports Humanitarian Bowl because I know dudes was like thinking on Christmas Day when they were out there, I want mama sweet potatoes and mac and cheese. I ain't getting it here.
They got regular potatoes out there in Idaho, but
but they don't make gravy like we do.
No, they don't. No, but I want to play a little clip here. This is Cam Smith and Cam Rice and Octavian Smith about their thoughts about Mike Loxley returning.
The locker room was excited. There was a sense of hope. with Coach Locke staying, a lot of guys are excited. This is a young team, so it gives them a chance to develop more under Coach and continue playing for him.
It wasn't really a surprise to me because we had a leadership meeting with me, Miss Diane, Jim, Coach Locks as well, and they was just clearing the air with the leadership council before they did it with the whole team. So it wasn't a surprise to me when he took the job. It was a job that nobody really wanted to take because Maryland at that time was like at its lowest peak, and him taking the job, I feel like it speaks a lot to his character and all that he's done for the program, and he's built it to where it is now, where it's going to continue to elevate and grow to be. I feel like he doesn't get as much credit as he should as a head coach, and not only as a head coach, but as a black head coach at that. It's not easy doing what he's doing, and he's doing it at an efficient level, and he's just continue to excel in all types of aspects, and his relationships with the players continue to grow, and I feel like that's the biggest thing. That's what's going to help Maryland to be successful for years to come.
Wow.
That
was a great answer, man. There were layers to that answer.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he said as a coach, took over a job that no one wanted because you're familiar with the Jordan McNair situation under Coach.
For the record, I get sick and tired of seeing DJ Durkin being lauded for what he's doing in his life after Maryland because of the life that he helped take while he was at Maryland. It's just something about that guy that just comes off as, I better keep my mouth shut here type.
Yeah, and I also want to feel like that good people deserve good things. And Coach Locksley, in our interaction with him, seems like he's a good guy. He cares about his players. He wants to.
He does.
Several times. This is his dream job. And when you get your dream job, you want to be successful at your dream job.
So you can keep your dream job. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Octavian said something really good about as a head coach, he took a job that no one wanted, and as a black head coach, which you see a lot. I don't want to get to the whole race thing about it, but it is true that you see a lot of his white counterparts get longer leashes or get second, third, fourth, fifth, 17, 18 chances to fail upwards, while this man but don't forget, 3 consecutive bowl games for the longest stretch in school's history, had 2 bad years. He took over after Durgan. I think you can only give him, I'd probably say, of the 7 years he's been there, 4 have been legit years of him being a head coach because it's been COVID year. You had last year was definitely probably his worst year since he took over as a full head coach. So I know I was saying last week that I think it might be time to move on, but the more I've listened to some of the words that came out of Coach Locksley's mouth, some of his players' mouths, Jim Smith's mouth as well, I can see giving them one more year.
That's the voice right there.
Yeah.
So you hitch the vision of the future of your department to the guy that's leading the department, and sometimes you need to do. And this is what I think the brilliance of Jim Smith is. Let me read the temperature in the room before I start changing S. You know what I mean? And let me get the full complexion of the department. We're transitioning into basketball season right now. You've got Buzz on the floor with his team. You got Brenda on the floor with her team. You're getting a feel for what are the steps that we need to take to move the entire program forward. I really do respect Jim in this particular case for not giving in to the chat boards who had fired Locks a month ago. I'm glad he turned it out and said, let me do a reasonable assessment. I was reading a story maybe a week or so ago that chronicled how uncomfortable, and I want to say it may have been Testudo Times, how Jim was really squirming in the press box or in the suite at the Rose Bowl when they played UCLA. And there was a sense that he was growing frustrated just by his body language. And they created the perception in the story that he was becoming agitated and might be pondering a move in the direction that he's not going. And he stated in that article, Chuck, that he was basically trying to remove all the barriers that the program faces as a whole from it becoming one of the elite programs in the conference and in the country. Now, he's got a great team of administrators around him. He's got analysts, like Gene Smith, who are consultants that can help steward it. I like the team Jim's putting together. Okay, I really do. We know Loxley is going to be in place. He'll be able to recruit. We're assuming he's going to be able to hold on to Malik Washington. All right, we're going to assume that they'll go out and get better. But you can have the deepest NIL pockets that you want. You can have the flashiest of buildings and workout facilities. At the end of the day, man, kids want to win. And you have to be able, you can hand out big checks with NIL money, but at the end of the day, these kids that you're recruiting are used to winning, and winning has to become the priority. And I think in some cases here, it's not just about the money. I'm looking at, why is the defense so bad? What happened to them first setting the edge? And I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe Daniel Wingate has been healthy for 5 weeks. Okay, I just don't.
Mathis and has also been in and out of the lineup as well. And Sidney Stewart's been in and out. So that's their 2 edge rushers have been inconsistently healthy in the lineup all week. And Wingate, he's played every game, but he's making tackles. But it's like in the old saying, he's like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. He ain't got much of a shot.
Right.
But
point well taken.
Yeah.
I will give you that. But I'm just saying they've been beat up. We thought that you and I thought that they were in great shape. Things happen. It's a physical league, and again,
the depth has been a problem for them as well.
Yeah, I think in spaces they're able to play as fast as some of the faster teams in terms of foot speed. You know what I mean? But when it comes to physicality, man, I don't know. And I think that's where they got to get bigger, more physical, nasty. I've seen the defense wear down. And the offense hasn't been helping them out either.
Scoring 6 points in a Big Ten game is not going to help your defense at all.
See, and that therein lies the trick with me. So I look at the defense and they're wearing down. I'm looking at the offense and figured out what happened. Did the
third down? Yeah.
Did the book on Maryland and Malik come out after the Wisconsin game? Because we haven't seen the same offense since they got back from Madison, bro. And that's just, I think Stevie and Ray can figure that out at this point. So I'm like, all right, where's the disconnect? Because remember, I mean, the biggest disappointment that we're facing right now is based upon the expectations that were thrust upon this team, largely on the shoulders of Daniel Wingate and Malik Washington. And the folks, while they have continued to stand tall, the teammates around them have come up short. I mean, we've seen critical drop passes. There was discipline issues on defense early, but there wasn't anything disciplined about what happened against Indiana. That was just, it was just simply the worst of times, a perfect storm type deal. So again, anxious to see how they finish. It would say a lot about, and let's dial it back for a second, because you could see in the clips, Chuck, relieved student athletes. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like they were decompressing, exhaling, and saying, Locks is going to be back, right? And their life could go on with some sort of normalcy to it. It it'll be interesting to see if they play a relaxed game against Michigan because they have nothing to lose because nobody expects them to win. They're playing for a bowl game. Michigan probably already has secured a bowl game. They're playing for a spot in the playoffs. And again, it goes back to that cosmetic victory. But sometimes when you are a prohibitive underdog, you're facing a perilous challenge, you reach down into one of those gladiator moments and you pull out a Maximus Decimus Meridius moment, because that's what we're going to need here. You know? And if you do go down with honor, right? And homecoming was not an honorable way to go down, bro.
No.
There was no honor in that game whatsoever. So, and then there was UCLA, which was disappointing, but
35 seconds. You allow 65-yard drive in 35 seconds for a game-winning field goal, unacceptable. And then, I guess we said against Rutgers was another beatdown out there, and Illinois,
this is what gets Rutgers.
No, I was talking about this all that game. Rutgers has these two receivers, DJ Huff and Ian Strong, who are big, physical, fast receivers, and Maryland's DBs, who surprisingly are second in the nation with 18 interceptions, could not make a play, intercept the ball, but then get blown up, get beat over top by the same guys. But we're gonna break down the matchup with Michigan right after this.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks: 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
That's right. Make 2025 a winner now. And if you do have a gambling issue, you see the number right there in front, 1-800-GAMBLER. It is that time of year. It's the holiday season. Don't
risk the Christmas money for the kids now.
No.
If you're thinking about, well, should I get him the PSP or should I make this bet? Get the PSP. Okay?
Exactly.
That's what credit is for. Do not bet Christmas. No.
But we got Thanksgiving first coming up. So on a tangent here, I'm tired of Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving. That's one of my number one pet peeves. Can we get through Thanksgiving first before we have all this Christmas stuff everywhere? I start seeing Christmas stuff before Halloween.
Well, my thing is this. I thought, first off, when I grew up, there was no such thing as Black Friday. You know, and because truth be told, since I've been born, every day has been a Black Friday. That's a topic for another conversation. Still, all right. Now we got multiple Black Friday days. You ever notice that? I mean, it's been Black Friday for 2 weeks now, right?
Yes.
What is the official? Is there an official Black Friday, or is it like, say, I don't know, Black History Month or something? I just want to know for clarity because I don't know when it ends.
It doesn't end. It starts in October and it ends in January.
Wow.
So
okay,
it's
I'm glad. I'm glad you came up with the boundaries and cleared that up for me.
Yeah.
I got another audience I'll be sharing this with in a little while. Thank you, dude. I'm serious.
Yeah, you're not even getting great deals. They're just like they mark it up before you get there, and they mark it down to the original price for the holiday. So you're not getting great deals. You might find 1 out of 10 being a great deal, but for the most part, most of the deals are just a regular price. They just glitter it up with, the bells and whistles of Black Friday. But moving on to our preview of the matchup with Michigan. You said Michigan is playing for a spot in the football playoff. Michigan is 8-2, 6-1 in the conference. A couple of their strengths: strong pass defense, ranked second in the Big Ten, and an effective running game. But they do have some issues. They have some injuries in the running game. Jordan Marshall, there's some struggles in the red zone, just like ourselves here in Maryland. But they prepared the favorites to win this game versus Maryland, who started off 4-0, losing 6 in a row, 1-6 in the conference. Strengths we have are all offensive line, only without 4 sacks all season, which is pretty impressive. We just cannot run the ball. 117th nationally. That is poor. That is P poor on third down, and they cannot convert on third down, like in the red zone. They've had several opportunities in the red zone. I believe the number was they've had 31 red zone opportunities and have only scored 10 touchdowns.
For the love of Bo Schembechler, what the happened? What has happened to Michigan State's running game? Well, University of Michigan's running game part. What is that? Come on, man. I mean, but again, that gives Maryland hope for maybe you figure out a way to stuff the run, make them a one-dimensional passing team, and see if you take your chances there. Of course, if I'm Michigan, if you ask me, I'm salivating at going against a poor secondary, to say the least. I mean, they've been vulnerable over the top and underneath, and then they've struggled tackling. So if my great concern is, you can say what you want about the struggles that they have running the football, Maryland's run defense hasn't been stopping anybody since the middle of October. And when you start looking at the relentless pounding that they're taking, you have to wonder if at this point in the season, bye week notwithstanding, of course, they're not just running down. Because think about it. Offense hasn't been holding the ball. They've been crushed in time of possession over the last month. And then they give up big plays, and they've always been working from behind. I think at some point it mentally drains you. And I think you saw the exhale from the players that we were talking about, understanding that Loxley's coming back. But as it relates to on-field product, you got some planning to do there, Ricky. You got some planning to do.
Maryland's going to have their hands full with that run game because Jordan Marshall, check this out in the season, 143 carries, 871 yards, 6.1 average. He has a long of 65, 10 touchdowns. That's the starter. The backup running back, Justice Hayes, 121 carries, 857 yards, 7.1 per carry. He has a 75-yard rush, also has 10 touchdowns. But wait, there's more. The quarterback has run the ball 60 times for 302 yards, 5 yards to carry, and has 5 rushing touchdowns.
That sounds to me like their offensive line is mauling people on the regular, except for those 3 losses. But Michigan's still Michigan, man. Michigan, I mean, it's 3 things you can bank on in life. Death, taxes, and Michigan running the football. They want to run the football. Now, you can have a compelling argument as to who has the best rushing attack in the conference these days between Ohio State, Indiana. Michigan is always going to be in the mix, So shock me with something. Why don't you?
And then this is a matchup between 2 freshman quarterbacks. It's Bryce Underwood, who's a true freshman, taking over after in Michigan. He's having a heck of a season. 100. He's at what's his total stats here? 61.5 completion percentage. He's had 1,951 yards. He only has 7 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So he's not he's not getting it in the end zone through the air. He's getting the end zone through the ground.
Well, let me jump in for a second. I think what they're doing is doing a really good job of putting him in position to manage the offense, the shorter underneath stuff that is nickel and dimes. But as we all know, when there was such a thing as nickels and dimes before it became crypto, that's the topic of another show, those nickels and dimes would add up. And I think that what they do is do a good job of efficiently using the underneath and intermediate routes to take advantage, and they still want to set up the passing game by the run. That's just what Michigan is about. It's what Bo talked to Jim Harbaugh, and it's the principle that they honor. You figure that if you can stop their run, you stop them, but they're efficient in the underneath stuff. And I like that little controlled passing game that they run. I think sometimes Maryland can get a little too greedy, and if they don't get fed, then it kind of throws them off track, when it comes to down distance and circumstance type stuff. But I like what Michigan is doing.
This could be an opportunity for Maryland's DBs to step up, though, because they are playing against a freshman quarterback, and they do have 18 interceptions on the league. And my dogs are out there. If you hear in the background, apparently there's something being delivered.
I thought it was Lenny from. I thought you were borrowing from Mina Kimes. That's not. You're not babysitting from Mina Kimes.
No. But
that damn Lenny is taking on a life of his own. I'm like, she had to get another dog and name him Squiggy.
That might be our new gimmick from moving on. What the dogs say? What did the dogs say? But our DBs, they're aggressive in the coverage. They do make plays on the interception, but the problem has also been when we do force a turnover, our offense cannot capitalize on that turnover and score points. So, and Michigan's defense, their run defense, I mean, are our boys gonna be able to do anything against these Midwest boys when it comes to running the ball? Because, as like I said, we are almost last in of all the Power 5 conferences teams in rushing the ball.
And that's got to change.
Yeah,
I think on the wish list for Maryland has to be a home run hitting caliber running back, whether it's in the portal, whether it's in high school. They need a home run hitter. To me, they are very pedestrian in terms of their backs. They'll move the chains, but every once in a while you need a big jump start, a Jeremiah Love type of player. You know what I'm saying? I know they don't come a dime a dozen, but it seems like every Saturday afternoon when I'm looking around the country, there seem to be a dozen of them all over the country, and teams in places where teams are on the edge of the college football playoffs, not even thinking bowls. So that's one thing in the portal or in the off season that I'm hoping Maryland can address. You got efficient backs that pick up first downs. You got game changers that score touchdowns from anywhere on the field. I don't think Maryland has that back.
Obviously, we have Jawan Williams and Nolan Ray, who are the two leading backs who've not shown that they are the guys. We also have Iverson Howard, who can probably take over. Bud Combs, who's in there as well.
Did you hear my benchmark that I was using? Fucking Jeremiah Love types.
Yeah.
God bless those young men.
Yeah, I don't think we have those Love guys unless.
But you got to get them.
You got to get them, and that's probably going to have to happen in the next recruiting class or two. You're probably going to need that 220-pound,
a guy running 4'3", 220, bruising people.
That hybrid running back, which is
yes,
you do. Who's big and physical, but also has top end speed. Those aren't a dime a dozen. But you would think in this area, in the DMV, down in the Tidewater area, Jersey area, Pennsylvania, which obviously is going to be hard to get Pennsylvania players away from.
Well, it's also going to be harder in the Tidewater area to recruit right now for two names and keep them in mind. First, Michael Vick, because you're going to have a lot of kids that would want to play for him at Norfolk State. But then there's James Franklin, going to Virginia Tech, and that
was Tech's wheelhouse for decades under Frank Beamer, going down there. The Vicks boys, for example, going to play Virginia Tech. So
the Barber boys,
yes,
Tiki and Rondé.
Yes. Well, they went to UVA though.
Oh yeah, well, you're right. Yeah. You're right. But still, you always had that pocket down there where you could recruit feverishly, and James Franklin is going to make it tougher for Maryland to go down there and get it.
Maryland missed their window of getting that area.
They did.
They missed their window.
Yeah, because that's a great landing spot for him, but that's certainly a topic for another show at another time. But all things considered, that is the place that is geographically close to Maryland, where you get that supersonic athlete, in like triplicate. So, the third string guy on somebody's high school team who may not be able to get a lot of burn, maybe the superstar that you're looking for down there. And I think that's a place that they got to actively recruit better. And they do have ties. I mean, one thing about having Pep Hamilton, who made his tours around the Mid-Atlantic region as a coach before when recruiting for Michigan, it'll be interesting to see now how that whole recruiting thing is, because I'm really looking at how you identify. It's funny, Chuck, how the landscape of college has sort of turned the off season into like a virtual combine, right? You got all these people that you're looking at, type of skill set, what I want to do, what am I looking for? You can actually go get them now. And I think you almost have to have somebody who's like a front office executive thinking like that. All right, what do you need? How do we go get this player? Kind of like a Michael Lombardi type down there in North Carolina. Now, it hadn't worked out in Chapel Hill too well for a variety of different reasons. But I mean, that type of infrastructure so that you can approach it. I mean, if you're going to be paying pro-type salaries, you got to have a pro-type infrastructure and a philosophy for the type of talent acquisition that you're looking for.
Yeah, I want to get back to a couple of things about this Maryland team that's still just, I don't understand. Turnover margin, which is like you would think that's one of the reasons that teams win, lose games. They're +8, 12th in the nation. They don't give the ball away, but they force 20 turnovers, only give up 8. They only give the ball 12 times. Excuse me. You would think that something like that would like lead to more success, but it appears to be like Maryland turns the ball over on 3 and outs versus interceptions or fumbles, whereas the other team they're forcing interceptions and fumbles. So, what is it with this team that like they can force a turnover, they can get the ball, but they just can't seem to finish when they have the ball on the other side?
That's a great question. I think Locks is probably answering him that same question. It is a perplexing question. I have no answer nor a bluff. It just makes you wonder why. And it used to be you'd say that, well, they're not spending the money. They did. So what I would say is, if I could quote Bill Parcells and paraphrase, you got to do a better job shopping for the groceries. And you're gonna have to go ahead and pluck the running backs, and with Mike Loxley's national reputation having been down south, go down south and get you an Atlanta running back. That DeKalb County, the Dunwoody High, Southwest DeKalb. I mean, heck, you go in the inner city Atlanta, go to Douglas somewhere. I mean, you come from a media market that is progressive, shall we say. You'd fit right in up here in this straight. Go down there and get them. I mean, but I think that's where Jim Smith comes in. Hey, go down there. Here are the spots that you need to hit, which was shocking to me that Damon Evans never set that tone when he was here, especially having come from Georgia. Now, I know it didn't work out for him down there, but to set the organizational tone for, we want athletes to compete in football, let's go to this fertile ground. And it just unfortunately, that wasn't a thought process, but I would love to see, why can't Maryland recruit the South? You may not get the red. I mean, you might have to get a number of purple chip athletes, but still, I'll take a purple, ranked athlete from Florida who's running 4.3 You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna take
Mhm.
from the average guy who makes a wonderful story from the state, but he runs with a ice wagon on his back. You know?
Yeah. And also, I still believe it's Malik's going to have to make some plays in this game with his legs because you saw against Rutgers, he had that 70-something yard run. He had 174 yards rushing against Rutgers. So he's got the ability to make some plays with his legs. I think if Malik can make some plays with his legs, you know, convert some third downs, they might have a shot to not get blown out in this game.
Oh, that's what we're doing now. We're playing not to get blown out. Wow.
I want a respectable showing in this game against a team that.
So what would
I'm
you
not sure
deem as respectable? Now then, see, you put it out there, you know, hey, you know, and I know that we would never, ever, ever say that there's any bias that you have because you graduated from this illustrious institution. Okay. So how does that look to you, my friend?
Well, if I can go, let me see if I can find the actual odds of this game. But I'm thinking
I can tell you that
scores.
Michigan is a 13.5-point favorite last I saw.
Okay, they cover spread. I think that's
Who,
a
Michigan
respectable
does?
showing. No, if Maryland covers the spread keep it within 2 scores, I think that's a respectable showing against a team that should be playing for a college football playoff spot. Yeah.
Wow. So you say just stay under the, you know, if they don't cover. Wow. Okay. Because here's the deal. Now, believe it or not, Austin Mock of The Athletic picked Maryland to cover the spread in their home game against Michigan. For what that's worth. Okay.
Plus, it is senior day. It's military appreciation day. I'm seeing numbers here as high as 14.5, as low as 13.5. So over under is 46.5. Looks like I've seen the numbers here. Money line. Maryland is plus. At some places I see as high as plus 500.
This ain't you know something. With all due respect, this is one that you stay away from, and you also stay away from Ohio State too, because Ohio State's getting 31.5 over Rutgers. Even with the disparity in talent, 4 touchdowns, that's a little rich to me. But and is Ohio State really playing for cosmetic points? I mean, don't we already assume that they have been pretty much an anchor figure in the Big Ten championship game, probably with Indiana right now? Because to me, they're the best 2 teams in the country.
That's true. That is true. But when we come back, I want to give our final thoughts, final predictions, and some final ongoings before we head into the Thanksgiving week here at the Voice of College Football, Maryland Live at the Voice of College Football.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
Like you said, make 2025 a winner now. But remember, 1-800-GAMBLER is there for you if you feel you are in a position where you don't want to,
you don't want to have one of those Pookie and New Jack City moments. You know what I'm saying? It's calling me. It's calling me. If it's calling you like that, you probably want to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Did I lose a lot of people, you think, with the New Jack City reference?
I don't think so. I mean,
because I see a lot of people rocking the Nino Brown T-shirts these days.
Mhm.
And a phenomenon that is well beyond me, but still.
Well, you know, my favorite line from that movie is "Sit your $5 ass down before I make change." that
Yeah,
line is that
one of the
line will
best
last
ever.
forever. That's like one of the best lines in any movie ever. I don't
Yeah,
care what I don't
that
care what
ranks
movie
right
you're
up
talking
there
about.
with the likes of "You Had Me at Hello."
Yeah,
You know,
I
love
am your
means
father.
never having to say you're sorry.
Exactly. You
And
know
my
exactly.
personal favorite from Wall Street, "Greed is
It
good."
is. My personal favorite, one of my personal favorites, obviously is "No, I am your father," which people always get wrong. People always say, "Luke, I am your father." Like, no, it's "No, I am your father." But I digress.
Where
Uh,
would you rank? Excuse me, as I whip this out. From
uh,
Bill's Blazing Saddles.
right behind where the white woman at? Oh, boys! Look what we have here. Where the white woman at?
Well,
uh,
raise my rent. You are the Waco kid.
well, pretty much any Mel Brooks movie I can probably put in my top anything quotes of all time, anything from Mel Brooks. But let's get on to the final thoughts of the show because we do have to roll. It has been a fantastic show. Thank you for being able to join me here. And final thoughts of what's going on in this game here. Like I said, it's going to be a interesting matchup between, like I said, a team that's competing for a spot in the college football playoffs versus a team who's trying to fight for a chance to earn a spot at the Mayo Bowl. So, um, for those who don't know, it is Saturday at Seacoast Stadium in College Park, Maryland, November 22nd at 4 p.m. I will be watching the game on my phone because I and the wife have a big date night. Uh, going to see a comedy show, going to dinner, so I won't be able to attend the game, unfortunately. But I will be keeping tracks of it on through the magic of my Verizon wireless internet connection. So, and according to the weather report, it's supposed to be around low 50s during the game.
And rainy.
Yeah, cloudy and cool, low 50s, potential rain. I think it's from around like 20 to 25% chance of rain. So let's go ahead and give our final predictions for this show. And final thoughts for this before we head into the Thanksgiving holiday.
Well, Maryland's been giving out 40 burgers, 50 burgers, and losing by 40 burgers. And this is just, to me, if you look at it on paper,
And
they're going to give them
some turkey
quite,
burgers.
a few more 40 or 50 burgers. I just think with the fact that Maryland's defense is banged up, they've been real inconsistent and can't run the football. I don't think they can shrink the game and keep it close. And when I say shrink the game, Chuck, I'm talking about run the football to keep Michigan's offense off the field. I don't think Maryland can do that. And that's a recipe for disaster against a big play explosive offense and a very tenacious and solid defense. I mean, it's hard to be confident that Maryland can win this game. It's even harder to believe that they can stay within 2 touchdowns. So if I were setting my line, man, I'd have to go Michigan plus 13.5 to win this game. I like Michigan to win by 2 touchdowns. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think and this is what the players have to understand, Michigan is playing to drub them tomorrow. For cosmetic reasons only. They have to win big and impressively to improve their spot. You will see a different mentality from Michigan. I just wonder, is Maryland able to raise their level of intensity with all the disappointment they've had in about the last month to pull out a dub? I don't see it happening, but I'd love to be there.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the fact that Maryland does not win this game, but I do believe somehow, someway they will on senior night and Military Appreciation Day at Seacoast Stadium, the Maryland Terrapins miraculously cover the spread and only lose by 13. Because I
Wow.
believe that Michigan will pull some starters, and garbage time is the right time to ruin people's bets and covering spreads. So Maryland will get some late touchdowns against the second and third string as they're trying to work things out on offense, and they will cover the spread, only losing by 12 or 13. And that is my sure shot.
Wow. So you only say a 10-point loss as opposed to 13, huh?
Yes.
Not willing to go
Yes.
with that. Yeah. See, I think it'll be a
Yes.
7-point game, but then there'll be a turnover, pick six, fumble recovery or something, and Michigan runs it in. And like I said before, there'll probably be a little bit of animosity after the game because if Sharon Moore has to run up the score, which he does have to do, he will. And I think if I'm Ted Monachino and I'm telling my defense that all week, hey, look, they trying to get into the college football playoffs. They're going to come in here with the attitude to destroy you and embarrass you. How you going to respond? It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, Maryland's going to have to find ways to keep Derek Moore in check. They're going to have to find ways to convert on third down. And when they do get the ball in the red zone, score touchdowns and not field goals. And lastly, they're going to have to find a way to continue the streak of them having at least one sack and one interception in the game. If they've done 8 straight games in a row, they can do it one more time. Turnover margin, they're top 12 in the nation. They can stay that turnover margin in their favor. They will have a chance of covering that spread. And on that note, we're going to call this show adieu, and we are going to hopefully be witness to the upset special of the century with the Maryland Terrapins somehow covering the spread against the Michigan Wolverines.
And I've got a show now that is, I guess, based in Detroit too.
Yeah, sports rap.
So yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm wondering what locker room am I supposed to go in tomorrow? I'm like a hybrid or something. You know what I mean? So it ought to be interesting, but that's what makes college football interesting. And I hope the Terps can find a way to pull off a dub because that would be a big feather in the cap of the coaching staff. But more importantly, you get extra practice time with your young team. And that goes about as far as really spring practice does, if you will. So I like to see that if possible.
All right. Well, like I said, Will Mark, tell everybody how they can follow you and where they can see this sports rap show and how they can follow you across social media.
Yeah, check us out. Download the app. Sports Rap Network. Okay, I'm on 9 to 11 East Coast time, Monday through Friday, which is 6 to 8 out west. And not quite tomfoolery and hijinks, but my takes on life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and anything that's going on in sports. And I try to help you make some money too. Yeah, and laugh at life, really, because we do really need to laugh.
You got after what's happened this week in our neighborhood.
Jesus,
you ain't laughing.
Anyway,
it's gonna be a rough one for you, but I digress. And you can follow me at Charles Younger, that's CHARLESNYONGA, across all forms of social media. Thanks for tuning in to Maryland Terrapins Live here at the Voice of College Football. For Professor G. Mark Gray, I'm Charles Younger, and we'll see you next week with Maryland Terrapins Live.